Thank you and happy birthday to you for such a lovely woman this day. Thank you for inviting me. Hey, you guys, listen. You ever looked at your spouse or significant other and thought, what on earth made me marry that person? Or maybe later he does or says something and you go, why did I get so lucky? He asked me to be his wife. I'm telling you, marriage is not perfect. I'm here to speak to you today a little about what makes marriage work. And I had to do a lot of thinking about it because, hey, I was married for 50 years, 4 months, 2.5 weeks before the Lord decided to call my husband home. And it was not a bed of roses that whole time. In fact, we had a rocky start. I remember the first few months, there were at least three times when we really got into it. I mean, really got into it, down, drag out, fight. And the third time I looked at him and I said, tell me something. Is this your idea of what marriage is supposed to be about? Because if it is, I'm packing my son and we are out of here. Now, I was lucky, okay? Because I grew up in the era of Prince Charming. And like Rhonda said, I was waiting for Prince Charming to come along. And I did kiss a lot of frogs before I met the man I would end up marrying, who I had no intentions of marrying. But I figured God had other plans because that's what we ended up doing. And we stayed together all those years. I was lucky, I say, because I was able to say that to my husband. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes women are in situations where it could create a bigger problem. My husband, on the other hand, thought about what I said, and we never had another fight. Oh, don't get me wrong, we had arguments and we disagreed on things. But if it got to the point where it looked like it was going to get into something violent or whatnot, he would pick up his keys and go drive off someplace. He never told me where he went. Well, I know maybe he met another woman. I don't know. I only know that he would leave the house, might be gone an hour or two, and come back, and he was fine. That worked for us. Sometimes you do have to say what you will take and what you won't. When I got married, I didn't know anything about what marriage was all about because my dad left us when we were little kids. So I had no idea. And my mother refused to get married again. I said, as long as she had girls in the house, she was not marrying again. And I thank her for that. But I had no idea other than what I saw on television. And so I took some of those ideas and decided I would work with those and see if it helped me. Now, as I was saying earlier, I had to think about what worked in our marriage because you don't just stay together all those years. We raised four wonderful sons. We we were blessed to have 15 grandchildren, and I'm thrilled to death to be able to say I now have 10 great grandchildren. But that didn't happen by itself. I came up with six things I believe that worked for us: open and honest communication, respect and appreciation, quality time together, compromise and flexibility, supporting each other's growth, and maintaining a sense of humor. I don't have time to go through in depth through each one of those this morning, but I will say briefly what uh, what worked for as I'm concerned. And I do believe being open and honest with each other, letting each other know what we expected, and being there to support each other. That for me, in a way, when I think about it, had to be the priority. Because if we were not able to express ourselves and say what was on our minds, it might not have worked. So we were able to get up and say what thoughts and concerns, even things that we feared, we could share that with each other and we listened and we didn't judge each other because we both had parents or fathers, I should say, that left us. My husband became the father of his siblings because he was the oldest. There were 10 of them, and he helped his mom raise them. He had to go to work to help raise his brothers and sisters, and they looked upon him as if he was their father. I was the oldest in my family. Everybody looked to me for things, you know. So when we came into a marriage, we didn't have any idea of how to handle it, what would work. But by me initiating what I would not accept, that opened the door for us to start talking. And I'm so glad that I did. The second thing is having respect and appreciation. Now, I know we live in a world today that says, oh, women are equal to men. And I agree, we are equal to men. But that does not mean we have to put the man down. It does not mean that what I say he's got to jump to it and accept. I always gave my husband respect. If we were out in public and he said something I knew that was totally wrong, I didn't correct him in front of people. When we got home, I would say, you know, you made a mistake on that. And he'd go, ah, well, they didn't know. uh, but I never made him feel little because maybe I knew something that he didn't. I would have liked us to have spent more quality time together. I really felt that we fell down in that area. Um, but what time we did spend together, we enjoyed. And it was, I don't know how to describe that because we didn't really go out on dates, you know, like set a date night and go out and have a great time together. Our date night might consist of us looking at the same movie and then enjoying it at home. So I would have liked that we had done more of that, but nevertheless, we managed and we came out on the other end all right. I had to learn that there were times when it was necessary for us to compromise. Because sometimes there were things I wanted to do that he didn't want to do, or vice versa. And what happened is I would say, okay, so let's do this. We'll do this time and do that the next time. And that worked. You have to be able to compromise and be flexible in some things. Don't be so rigid that you can't accept what the other person might feel or think and support each other. Yeah, my husband never told me what I could or couldn't do, and I never told him what he could or couldn't do. But we both knew we were married. Hey, I'm human. I look. I'm sure he looked too. But I always remember what I had at home and felt, "Hmm, I think that might be worth more." Yes, maintaining a sense of humor, absolutely. Because you know what? If you don't, you start looking elsewhere and thinking, oh, maybe I should have waited. I might have did better. But thinking back, I don't believe I could have done better. I think the Lord sent me exactly who was to be in my life. And I am so appreciative of the fact that I got to have 50 plus years with him. The next time you look at your spouse or you're making a selection, be sure that it's the right one. As Rhonda said, don't just hop in things because the right one is waiting. And when that person comes along, oh my gosh, there is nothing like it. So I'm going to wind up by just reminding you of my 6 things here. And that is be open and honest, respect each other, spend some quality time together, be willing to compromise and be flexible, For heaven's sake, support each other and maintain a sense of humor. Thank you so much.